the beginning, the innocent athletes of the 20s and 30s didn't know what follies were. They just took weird shots and wore strange clothing, and so we laugh at them today. But by the 40s, they were actually trying to entertain and amuse, as each sport developed its own distinctive folly style. In the 50s, giants of the genre emerged, and interest in sports humor exploded. The 60s and 70s saw a rogues gallery of colorful characters humanize the Follies. Soon, we were plunging headlong into the 80s. Today, big league athletes can pull off a sensational stab, then make a fabulous faux pas. Somehow, that's so reassuring to all the rest of us. Only someone this good can commit the greatest sports follies.
Ground ball back to the mound. Can't get it out of his glove. He's running toward first. He throws the ball and the glove, and Hernandez is...
I'm saying now, they're tackling our guys on pass protection.
Don't you be intimidating me.
I'm not intimidating you.
Don't you be intimidating me.
I'm not intimidating you, but I'm going to tell you.
You gotta be kidding. Hey, you guys are reading a different rule book than me.
When you look at it, sometimes we're very serious about what we're doing, but when you look back at it, you say, boy, that was seriously funny.
Mr. Borg's shot strikes the official, knocking his glasses to the ground. How unfortunate.
Left side. Challenges. Block. Another block. Harry, another block, and they'll score the last one.
Hextall is so strong in clearing. Traps it. Here he goes, bidding for one. Here's the clear. Here it is. He scores! Hextall scored a goal on the empty net.
Before you guys say anything, I was aiming for that corner.
Deep to right field. Holy cow, I don't believe it. Home run for George Brett. And Billy Martin now is coming out. He wants to take a look at that bat. And they are about to make a decision, and this could be a momentous decision. That you remember that?
I can't believe that.
Wait a minute, Bill.
I can't believe that.
They did that to Simon Munson.
Brett is upset now. I can't believe that, Phil.
Myra straight back to pass. Looking. Now stops, throws, completes it to Kilmer up at the 30-yard line. Kilmer driving for the first down, loses the football. It's picked up by Jim Marshall, who's running the wrong way. Marshall is running the wrong way. And he's running it into the end zone the wrong way. Thinks he's scored a touchdown. He has scored a safety.
As Jim Marshall knows, strange things happen in the NFL. That's the fun that attracted a child of the 50s named Jerry Glanville.
I've never gotten out of bed where I don't want to run in and go to work. And when you have that feeling that there's no drudgery, that you just can't wait to get there, then my philosophy is you really don't have a job. You have some part of your life that you enjoy doing. You catching on?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Where'd you go to school?
Good. Pardon?
Where'd you go to school?
Iowa.
Wasn't Iowa State?
No.
We got the wrong guy. We were drafted. We wanted the Iowa State quarterback. We took the wrong guy. Coach Sherman. He went to Iowa. I wanted the Iowa State quarterback. We got the wrong guy. I tell you, that happens in the draft. You end up with the wrong guy.
Sometimes you get the wrong guy. Other times you pick the wrong play. Sometimes the wrong guy picks the wrong play, but it ends up in the right place.
Gets up and now cranks up, throws a deep bomb to Butler. He's got it. Touchdown.
You just never know, because that dang ball won't bounce the same way twice.
Really, the ball probably originally wasn't designed to do what we're doing with it now. I guess if the ball was round, we wouldn't have all this fun.
The Houston Oilers keep coming up smelling like a rose, thanks to their happy-go-lucky coach and a fairly sizable home field advantage.
Probably our biggest advantage in the Dome is we have giant Texas cockroaches. We have cockroaches in the visitors' locker room that I've heard players say they have ridden them out to the bus. This has to be an advantage because if you're from the north, you don't get to see these things. I mean, these are the size of alligators.
Each NFL stadium has its own little surprise for visitors. Magnets in the turf at Seattle. Old Testament interlopers in Atlanta. Landfill leftovers in New York. California's La Brea tar pits. Arctic Circle antics in Green Bay. Thin air in Denver. And Hound of the Baskervilles weather in Chicago.
I say, old chap, did you say a game was being contested at Soldiers Field today? Without my bifocals, I can't quite make out the pitch.
Here's how it looks to us, and we're only about 20 yards away from the play. We can hardly see it. In the stands, the fans can't, and they're relying on the play-by-play announcer to keep them abreast of what's going on.
Cunningham looking, he fires the pass, and it may be intercepted by the Bears.
Sometimes Mother Nature gives these play-by-play types a good excuse for blowing a call. But what's their problem when the sun's out?
Miller going to hand it to Primus. Primus, 5, 10, 12, lefting, 17, 10, 6, 5, touchdown, Primus in the corner.
Other times, they just don't believe they saw what they saw.
And he spent over the top, stays on his feet. To the 40, to the 30, to the 20, to the 10, and he scored! I don't believe it.
Hey, yo, all this high-flying football makes Jerry Glanville smile. But you gotta go back about 30 years to make his heart really skip a beat, you know?
To Jerry from Elvis, thanks for the tickets. He's not dead. He's alive.
Yeah, Jerry still hangs out with Elvis and drives James Dean's car.
James Dean's in the trunk. Now, we can take the mail out of this car and make 150 Toyotas.
That you'll never see Coach Glanville on the downbeat. Well, the Oilers, they play a wide-open game. You know, they whenever it comes time for them to do something, they jump on it and go with it.
The king approves of the Oilers' wide-open style, and the players all march to the beat of a different drummer. And that drummer is a coach who actually enjoys his team's contribution to the Follies.
I was on the ball here. It's his hands that weren't working. I'm looking for my favorite play. Is this it, the Jets kick? This is my favorite play of all last year. In fact, I've asked for the Jet Film to make a copy of this for me. This I love. We call this a West Coast weave.
The New York Jets set an unofficial world record for number of laterals, yards traveled, and elapsed time on this play. But you know what they say. Those who live by the West Coast weave die by the West Coast weave.
Over now to Richardson, who laterals ball, and it's taken by Tampa Bay down the right sideline. This Cleveland's going to go all the way for the touchdown.
You see, record-making, breathtaking, game-breaking plays are always just one oops away from a folly. Fans love them, but for coaches and players, there's only one thing worse.
Way up here.
Official.
He's up here, sir.
Come on, you see 88 holding out there. God, what you gonna do, stand there and let him hold?
Hey, the ball hadn't been kicked.
And we have a good conversation going on with most of these people, and I think we look forward to seeing them, and they look forward to having a little conversation with us each Sunday.
You are a liar. You're a big liar if you are a liar, Earl. You are a liar. I throws two balls, and all of a sudden you're gonna call the other one. That other pitch won the strike. Where's he allowed to go? He cannot go. You man avoiding the tag? Yeah, he can get around him. How far?
That's 3 holding penalties on one football team in a quarter and a half. That ain't funny.
No.
You gotta use your judgment on it.
I understand.
No, 1, 2. Is that right? Yeah. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Airman. Hey, you over-officious jerk. Get out of here. Get out of there.
Well, that's good enough for me.
Okay.
But sometimes get some help on it, too, all right?
All right.
I have no confidence with you, buddy. There's not 1 inch.
Everybody has their own style of communicating with officials. Head coach John Chaney of the Temple Owls only has to establish eye contact.
But in the last couple of years, the rules have changed. We're not able to talk to the officials anymore. So now I'm guilty of just staring at them once in a while. They've called a couple of my stares the one-eyed Jack stare. But we can't talk to them, so at least I can stare at you.
John, I wouldn't want to meet in an alley because he comes up and he stares at you with those big eyes, and I would just drop over, play dead, because he would scare the heck out of me.
And he wants a team of domination. That's it. Not competitiveness, domination. That's John.
The other coaches, they're worse than I am. At least I think they are. Especially that Roley. Roley and Speedy, yeah, they're bad boys.
My personality is somewhat of a quiet personality. I mean, I'm an emotional kind of a guy. Being the nationality that I am, it causes that. I think I have a pretty good relationship with the officials. And now they're not supposed to talk, but we still have a little camaraderie and a little conversation now and then.
I love to look at him more than I see the game. In fact, when I'm scouting them, I lose sight of their team and watch Roley. He's really something very funny. Speedy the same way. Speedy Morris, he wrestles with himself. You know, he tears himself apart. And
I mean, he takes off his clothes as he's yelling and screaming. Speedy's a sight to behold, I think.
There's Speedy Morris. He is going to be losing that tie shortly, and the sweater is probably in deep trouble, too.
And Speedy Morris, who ripped his pants here 2 years ago, they were threatening to rip his sweater off.
This reminds me of 2 years ago when Speedy ripped his pants right up the back.
I ripped them because I was wearing 36 pants. I got about 39 waist, you know, and I learned since then to buy bigger pants. And I just expanded too much for the pants, and they couldn't take any more. They had enough, and they just popped. The fans saw it. I mean, it wasn't just a little tear. I was just happy I had clean underwear on.
And, of course, when he went into halftime, his wife was sewing his pants up, and he was standing there coaching in his underwear.
And he still won the game. That's what I told him. Split them every time you play. I said, you're better off. If they give you a W, that's all it takes.
These three coaches all work in the same building. Philadelphia's Palestra is the home court of a unique city series called the Big Five. Each year, Temple, LaSalle, St. Joseph's, Villanova, and Pennsylvania display Division I college basketball at its best.
So that fire is always burning. You don't have to come out with any great Newt Rockney speeches. Not at all. It's always a fire that's already there to win the Big Five.
And here's Gary from long range. Whoa, 3-on-1. Williams up again, and he's not going to be blocked. Rodney play center.
And there's a dunk. Muncie with him. Oh, damn! 5 minutes left. It's a 2-point ball game.
Comes Presley, 3-on-1. Presley from the glaze. Massey, oh my!
Here comes a party.
Johnson on the breakaway.
But all this emotion can sometimes backfire.
Oh, he walked. He walked. The crowd intimidated him, I think. And he was trying to think of about 8 different moves and couldn't get any of them started.
We put all of the time in teaching and coaching to get that ball right through that basket, and yet it seems to bounce everywhere.
All alone, Williams missed the dunk.
The undunk. So he undunked the ball instead of dunking the ball. Sometimes we say it's a brick. He shot up a brick. And it's being kicked around everywhere. You go to try to pick the ball up, and there's one guy who misses it, and 2 other guys fall on the floor. This guy dives at it. He with it. The ball's going that way, and all of a sudden it's going back this way by the other team, and he goes down and blows the basket. Ball hits him in the face. He falls out. All of these things happen, and it's very funny. But it just goes to show you that the game is not so far removed from where life is.
As in life, we sometimes foul up, and a buddy saves us, or we might get stuck in an awkward situation. There are days when we run out of room or want to leave early. But most of all, everybody needs somebody to hold on to when life gets rough, as it surely will.
I've been in hockey for so many years now, and every year has been fun. To me, when the fun does go out of it, I think it's time to get out of it.
Terry Crisp is a former Broad Street bully from the Philadelphia Flyers, who now presides over the loosest team in the NHL, the Calgary Flames.
Just don't think, react. You'll be all right.
We all go in with visions of grandeur and doing this and that, but what it really is, if you jump up on top of Secretariat, you know you got a pretty good chance of finishing up in the top money.
Here's Poplinski. What's in, gives it to Radina. He shoots, ran for the save. Oh, they put it in. Joseph tucked it back into
You're on a Mennonite plow horse, you better be gouging pretty good to get down the home stretch.
2 on 3, Muller in the middle. Shot was deflected on, goal scored! Patty Verbeek will get the goal. Mike Vernon misplayed it.
Terry is the kind of guy that says what he feels and says it loudly and says it right away. So at times he's very boisterous and sometimes even out of control. But the bottom line is he wants to win hockey games, and that's what we're all here for.
Well, in the 16 years I've gone through just about every kind of coach you can imagine. Coach Crisp is kind of a hauler guy. It's his way or the highway sort of deal. He wants you to play with emotion out there and go that way.
They're all men, they're family men, they're human beings, and we're going to make mistakes. And if we make mistakes, and you can look at the lighter side of making that mistake, you don't go bonkers. You don't wind the rubber band up and it goes boing.
It's not always serious out here, and if you don't have fun with it, you won't last very long.
Something funny just happened. Dave Maley put on Manson's helmet as he's skating off the ice.
He did.
He thought he had his own helmet, tucked it on, and was skating off.
After you've had a few days to watch it, and it's not life or death, you do find some humor in it. Maybe not at that given time. It depends on whose bull is being gored as to who's humorous or not.
I think that you got to have a sense of humor to play in this game, and there's a lot of funny things that happen during games.
But sometimes it's fun, sometimes it isn't fun.
He centers it out in front of the net. There's nobody there. There's a loose stick, and there's a loose glove, and the glove scores.
Fellas, this is hardly the time or the place, you know.
Where's the puck? Come on, fellas, please, just knock it off, okay? Come on, guys.
Take that, you poser.
So I'll tell you, that green seat and the white seat, if there happened to have been people sitting there, well, the people in the first row are holding up to that piece of glass. And here, Bergeron will be going right now. I can't believe it.
Pucks end up in the darndest places.
It's in the skate of Salming. It got lodged actually right in the net. Now there's the first. Call Ripley's. I've never seen that one.
Hopefully not too many people get hurt.
A lot of the players you watch in the Follies have done something pretty good just to get there.
Shot. Trickles near the goal line, and it's brushed along and out front.
The skill was just to even get there to make the folly to begin with. The folly is the end result of trying to make a heck of a play.
Shot. Now you can see how he puts it in the corner. Now watch this puck hug the boards. It looks like it's going to stay there all the way. It's magnetized. The goalie thinks it's coming back behind, but he's wrong. It's a score.
Life's not just a bowl of cherries every time. You just can't have fun every day, because sometimes we're going to hit some pitfalls along the way. But if by and large you're having fun, you're enjoying your sport, you're enjoying your teammates, hang in there. Keep doing it, because the fun days far outnumber the miserable days. Believe me, they do. And too soon, too fast, they leave us, they're gone, and you can't get them back.
Terry Crisp and his Calgary Flames have demonstrated that the right blend of fun and games can take a team straight to the top.
Lanny McDonald shoots. He scores. The old man has come through. The Flames are ahead 2-1 in the Stanley Cup final.
In 1989, the Flames followed the lighthearted lead of their bushy-faced elder statesman and curly-headed coach to the World Championship and a nice little trophy they call the Stanley Cup.
Oh, so you say you don't have the studs to win a championship. Today, I will teach you how to win with your brain. Dr. Freud called it a psych job, and it starts with eye contact. Sometimes all it takes is a subtle glance, or a little body language will send the message. Did you get the message, Mookie? Al Hrabowski was my favorite subject of all time. Here was a man who could communicate his deepest feelings without speaking. Hrabowski was called the Mad Hungarian, but he was nothing compared to tennis pro Ilie Nastase, a Romanian known as Dracula.
Hey, loosen up, Ilie!
I don't know. I'll loosen up. I'll loosen up right now because I'm tense right now.
As a touring professional, Ilie Nastase was the loosest player to ever grace a court. In a game marked by somber intensity, Ilie was a child at play. He was a gifted athlete and brilliant shot maker who was at one time ranked in the world's top 10, but he simply couldn't resist his natural temptation to have some fun. Often he flashed back to boyhood memories of soccer in his native Romania. His attention span was short, and he frequently lapsed into a fantasy land fueled by his own fervid imagination, initiating dialogue with the ball, his racket, and himself. But his mood swings were not always sunny. He could suddenly turn as dark and menacing as a Bucharest winter. At these times, he became Nasty Nastase. Intimidating officials. Disturbing opponents. And shocking fans. This talented and temperamental artist was unlike anything the tennis world had ever seen. Depending on your point of view, that was either good or bad, but never indifferent.
Sure, sometimes I went too far. And I have to admit it, but I don't regret it. But I don't regret at all, because it was me. I did it my way, like, Sinatra did it.
Today, Ilie is a touring pro, still teaching his unconventional style at a Paris tennis club, owned by his old Romanian doubles partner, Jan Teriak.
Did you teach him?
No, not really. I mean, he was so gifted that he was gifted from God. And then I was the second one, so I never compare myself with God. But he was probably the most gifted tennis player I saw in my 30 years. And I don't believe that players like this are coming every generation. And the man had a merit to change the game of tennis from tennis sport to entertainment. And that my young friend is not so young anymore.
No.
Still, unfortunately, has the bad habits. The hair is as long as he was.
A young Ilie emerged on the international scene in the 60s as a member of the Romanian Davis Cup team, led by his Svengali, Jan Teriak. The prodigy was taking graduate classes in Intimidation 101 from Professor Teriak.
So when he came along, not really only coaching him, but I was always older. Now we change, he's older than I am. But at that time, I take them with me, and we form the first odd couple of the tennis, put it that way.
Impressionable Ilie learned his lessons well and graduated with honors. He was soon taking the Ilie Nastase show on the road to tennis clubs all over the world.
These guys are terrible. Please. Yes, the rest of Everest.
Quit stalling
The tournament was ruined for me, and the tenseness and the problems I had with my friend, Mr. Nastase, who caused a lot of trouble in every match that he played this week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
You know, they talk about Nastase being the victim of all this. Think about the guys that lost to him because of it.
So, you say this nasty Nastase fellow from Bucharest is rude and boorish. Maybe so, but he's also very entertaining. So long as you don't have to play him, that is.
Ilie even played some head games with his former partner, Jan Teriak, who was now retired and coaching Guillermo Vilas. To circumvent rules against coaching during a match, Vilas would look for discreet hand signals from Teriak in the stands.
So Teriak, before the match, was talking to Vilas with the signs, you know, they're just saying if I put my finger, I know, open my eye, I don't know. So I was playing Vilas in the French Open a couple of years ago. And he was serving from the other side of the court, and I was in this, and Teriak was behind me. So I knew Teriak was going to do something, so I just put my head between my legs, and I tell Teriak, no coaching.
For better or worse, Nastase influenced a whole new breed of tennis player who arrived on the scene as he was leaving, bequeathing the game a personality and sense of humor it had previously lacked.
Nastase never worked. He played the game.
I did have fun. You know, it's every time I was playing the court, I have fun. I mean, losing or winning, I have matches that I like it, but I lose the match, and that's the way I was.
In the world of sport, there are precious few originals. Ilie Nastase was one of the greatest.
Well, Nastase's colorful counterparts can be found in every sport.
Larry Anderson is a well-traveled middle reliever who keeps assuming new identities.
Hey, where's Nolan Ryan?
That's me. I'm Nolan Ryan. Last year, gave up a home run to Schmidt in the Dome, and it was pretty much a blast. When Hal Lanier came out to the mound, he said, looked at me and kind of shook his head. Says anything hit that high and that far ought to have a stewardess and an in-flight movie. Now that was comforting, I'm not about to put baseball above life. And I think that's, you know, the things I do is part of my life.
Even when he was with the Phillies, Anderson has always been strange. Sort of like Pittsburgh's Andy Van Slyke, whose off-center ideas led to the nickname Norman. As in Norman Bates of Psycho?
Baseball players, I think, have fun in any condition, no matter what it is, and especially when it comes to the snow and rain, because when you make a mistake on the field and 50,000 people see it, you better have a sense of humor, because if you don't, you're going to end up checking into the Bates Motel pretty soon.
Today is April 8th. We're in Wrigley Field, Chicago. And this is the Pirate Trio of the Pittsburgh Pirates, even though there's more than three. Okay, guys? Ready? Hit it. Here we go. Hit it. One. Hit it.
1, 2. 1, 2, 3.
The weather outside is frightful, and I am so delightful. I don't want to play, so let us all
boys of summer know how to weather the storm. But their environment is never completely under control. Blimps blot out the sun. Runaway rainbirds jump the gun.
I'm not a meteorologist. Don't tap my foot and ask me if it's going to rain or not. Check the wind direction. We had just taken the lead. We're trying to get the last 3 outs of the game. All of a sudden, this wind starts picking up. The skies turn black. Our catcher is being invaded by hot dog papers and Cokes and beer cups, and all of a sudden, he's getting plastered. It was the first time that I've ever had a wind delay in any of my years in baseball.
The animal kingdom is also part of Mother Nature's plan to make each fly ball a safari.
Another breaking ball skied to left. It hit a bird!
You believe that?
I've never seen that.
That ball hit the bird flying in the air and dropped it. I've never seen a base hit like that in my life.
I don't know what it is about baseball, Major League Baseball, but there's something about the game that attracts animals. You got squirrels running around the field. You got cats, birds, bugs. They get down the field and they get in your eyes and they get in your ear. And I was running after the ball one time and with my mouth open, and bingo, here comes a moth flying right into my throat. I end up swallowing it, and I end up almost dropping the ball, and nobody knows it. And I'm the only guy who ends up almost being the GOAT because of a moth.
A ball soars through the night sky. Mr. Andrew Van Slyke of the Pittsburgh Pirates intersects the hurling sphere an instant before it plunges to earth. This skill has earned Mr. Van Slyke a gold glove, yet he knows at any given moment he can enter another dimension of time and space known as the Follies zone.
A lot of things can happen positively and negatively in that player. It goes through a player's mind when he has too much time to think. When he's sitting there camped under a ball, he knows that there's 2 outs and the base runners are running around the bases trying to get to home, and he's waiting, he's backing up, he's waiting. And he goes, I got it, and clank, it hits his glove, he drops it. In the back of his mind, he almost knows, hey, I knew that was going to happen. Why did it have to happen? He's caught the ball 99 out of 100 times before the ball was hitting. And he knows that, I probably got it, but that one time he's waiting, and clank.
I say, old chap, where does one develop the skill necessary to join the Order of the Iron Glove? Why, in spring training, of course.
I don't think this does anything for you at all. Let's stretch it.
Hey, Rothy boy! Hey, Norton!
Hey! Spring training is the time for suntans. It's not like we're doing a Jane Fonda tape and trying to get ourselves our bust line down or up, or our butts up or down, or thighs in or out. I mean, that's not what we're thinking about. Every day I would come in and boast about how well I was catching bats in spring training, and that's all I thought about when I was on the field in spring training.
Those who survive fishing trips in Florida earn a spot on the traveling squad.
That's smart.
On the surface, this game seems so rudimentary. Simply proceed to each base in sequence, stopping only when necessary.
Takes a good pitch to go on. Terrible throw. Mosby doesn't know where the throw is. He's going back to first base.
Is he going to steal first? He steals first. Now he's going to steal second again. I've never seen it before.
Where's Abbott and Casella when you need him?
Such a basic task. Strike a leather-bound ball of twine with a sturdy stick of wood.
Swing and a broken bat fly ball to right field. This ball is deep. This ball's out of here. I can't believe that. Somebody better check that bat.
Oh, yes, and don't forget to bring along your sense of humor.
I think the players can almost become a fan. They almost are sitting in the stands themselves with that Coke and watching that happen, and they're laughing along with the fans, which makes it real funny. It's not a setup. It just happens, and it happens to be a funny thing.
Swinging a ground ball back at the mound. Off the glove. Hits Kipper in the head. He tries to recover. He throws. Safe at first base. Here it is again. Deion James hits a ground ball. It first goes off his glove, then off his head. In his haste to try to make the play, he loses his cap. Knowing Andy Van Slyke will have something to say to Kipper about this when they look at it again.
Trying to duplicate one hoppers off the face is not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of work, practice. He said the thing I need to work on is the cap flying off my head a little bit better. And that's just the way I approach it. You got to have fun. To me, I don't know how you cannot have fun at this level. I mean, you're playing in the big leagues. It's something that you've always wanted to do. If you can't have fun here, I'm convinced you're not going to have fun when you're pumping gas when you're out of base. If I can tell you that.
Fun and games. That's what sport is all about at any level. Perhaps we can sum this all up by paraphrasing the most famous quote from the Sports Cliché Hall of Fame. It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you make the greatest sports follies that counts.